Good morning, students. I am Himanshu Srivastava. Today we are going to study about the story from the diary of Anne Frank. She has given a line: laziness might be attractive, but work gives satisfaction. This could be a theme of the story. You can understand it that the theme of the story. So let's start with the introduction. This lesson is an excerpt from Diary of a Young Girl or The Diary of Annie Frank. It is an autobiography that was first published in 1947. In this, Annie expresses her thoughts in a diary which was gifted to her on her 13th birthday. She names the diary Kitty, means she calls her diary by the name Kitty, which she considers as her only true friend. Means she considers diary as her only true friend and call it by the name Kitty. She mentions about her childhood, her family, and a lot other things that she told no one else. Means she used to share everything about her childhood, her family, and a lot of things that she can't tell to other. She only shared these things with the diary. So let's start with the exercise. Writing in a diary is a really strange experience for someone like me. Not only because I have never written anything before, but also because it seems to me that later on neither I nor anyone else will be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I feel like writing, and I have an ever greater need to get all kinds of things off my chest. Here, musings means a period of reflection or thought. The author feels that it is strange and unusual for her to write in a diary about her feelings and experiences because it was the first time she was doing it. Means Annie herself was writing first time in the diary. She feels this because she thinks that in the future no one would be interested in reading about a young school going girl's past. She thinks that later even she will not be interested in reading it. But then she puts these thoughts away and decides that she should write if she feels like doing so. She feels the need to write because there was a lot of thoughts she had been holding on to lately and she needed to get them off her mind. It is known that writing one's thoughts act as therapy. She makes the decision of writing a diary. Means this was the first time when she was writing. She feels that she thinks that in the future no one would be interested in reading about a young school going girl's past. And finally, she thought act that writing would be act as a therapy. And finally, she made a decision of writing a diary. Paper has more patience than people. I thought of this saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless, wondering whether to stay in or go out. I finally stayed where I was, brooding. Yes, paper does not have more patience. Paper does have more patience, and since I am not planning to let anyone else read this stiff backed notebook, grandly referred to as diary, unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of difference. Now I am back to the point that prompted me to keep a diary in the first place. I don't have a friend. The author feels that the paper has much more capacity to absorb thoughts than people. Here, author is Annie herself. People have low patience levels, but a piece of paper, being a non living thing, would not refuse from absorbing her thoughts. Obviously, people have very low patience. They do not want to know anyone's thoughts. But paper, as being a non living thing, it never refuses. It never refuses from absorbing anyone's thoughts. This realization came to her one day when she was feeling more sad and confused than usual. She could not even decide whether to go out or stay at home at that time. When she finally decided to stay at home, she sat being depressed and in deep thought. Again, she thought that paper had more patience and she decided to write everything that came in her mind because she did not intend on making someone read it unless she found a real friend. She was unable to go anywhere. She was living in an attic, and that's why she finally thought that as she is not having any real friend, so till that time she wants to write. She decided to write, and she also didn't intend on making someone read her diary unless she found a real friend. By real friend, she meant a friend with whom she could share all her secrets. It means she was not having a real friend with whom she can share her secrets. The author then comes back to the point where she thought of beginning to write. It is because she is lonely and has no friend to talk to. Let me put it more clearly since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in the world. And I am not. I have loving parents and a 16-year-old sister, and there are about 30 people I can call friends. I have a family, loving aunts, and a good home. No, on the surface, I seem to have everything except my one true friend. All I think about when I am with friends is having a good time. I can't bring myself to talk about anything but ordinary, everyday things. We don't seem to be able to get any closer, and that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other. In any case, that's just how things are, and unfortunately, they are not liable to change. This is why I have started the diary. Now, in this paragraph, she mentioned the reason for writing diary. She then goes on explaining why she feels the need for a friend. She feels that no one is going to believe that a young girl like hers is so alone, which practically she is not. Means practically she was not alone. She is having a loving family, near about 30 people that can be called friends, loving aunts, and a good place to stay. This depicts a clear picture of happy family. Means this is telling that she is having a family, friends. But the one thing that lacks in her life is the presence of a true friend with whom she can share everything. She was having everything: family, friend, aunt, a good house, a good place to live. But she was only having, she was only lacking a true friend with whom she can share her secrets, everything. She does have a good time with friends. They talk about stuff, but not real stuff that is actually going on in their lives. Despite trying hard, they are unable to get closer. Obviously, she was having some friends, but they were not so close as she can share everything to the friend. She feels that maybe it is her who is not able to trust anyone with her private stuff, that she is not able to come any close to her friends. Sometimes she found that it is her fault that she can't trust anyone to make someone her true friend. She feels that current situation cannot be changed and thus she needs to write her feelings in the diary. Means she found that the current situation is not going to change, means she is not going to get a true friend, so better she's thought that she should start writing diary and start mentioning her feelings in the diary. To enhance the image of this long awaited friend in my imagination, I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary the way most people would do, but I want the diary to be my friend. And I am going to call this friend Kitty. Means he is going to call this friend Kitty. Since no one would understand a word of my stories to Kitty if I were to plunge right in, I'd better provide a brief sketch of my life, much as I dislike doing so. Here, plunge means jump or dive. Usually, when someone is writing in a diary, they list down all the facts about them in a formal manner, which the author does not want to do. Means he doesn't want to write the diary in a very formal manner, in the form of list. This is because he wanted to give her need for a friends a shape and thus decides to name the diary as Kitty. Means he doesn't want to make it a simple formal diary. She just want to share everything, her feeling and everything that was going in her life with her friend, and that was diary, and that's why she has given it a name Kitty, hoping that someone would read her diary one day. She thinks that writing without giving details about the background story would be ineffective. So, despite not wanting to do so, she gives brief details about her life. As she thought that when someone will read, they should know about the background of the story. So, she has written brief details about her life. My father, the most adorable father I have ever seen, didn't marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. My sister Margot was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. I was born on 12th June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. My father emigrated to Holland in 1933. My mother, Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September, while Margot and I were sent to Aachen to stay with our grandmother. Margot went to Holland in December and I followed in February when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margot. Here, plunk means to put down, adorable means lovable, and emigrated means leave one's own country in order to settle permanently in another. She prefers she refers to her father as the most lovable father one could get. Her father married her mother when he was at the age of 36 and she was 25. She and her sister Margot were both born in Frankfurt. As soon as Annie turned 4, her father moved to Holland, followed by her mother in September, while both the sisters stayed with their grandmother in Aachen. Margot was also sent to Holland in December, followed by Annie in February, who was brought as a birthday present for Margot. Means Annie was brought as a birthday present for Margot. So in this paragraph, she gave detail about her family. I started right away at the Montessori Nursery School. I stayed there until I was 6, at which time I started in the first form. In the sixth form, my teacher was Mrs. Cupers, Cuperus, the headmistress. At the end of year, we were both in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell. In the summer of 1941, Grandma fell ill and had to have an operation, so my birthday passed with little celebration. In Holland, Annie was sent to Montessori Nursery School. It was her first school. She started from first form, means first class. She had Mrs. Cuperus, the headmistress, as her teacher in sixth form, who even cried at the time of farewell. Means Emotionally, they both were attached with each other, and at the time of farewell, they both cried. In 1941, the author's birthday could not be celebrated well because her grandmother fell ill and underwent an operation. In means 1941. Grandma died in January 1942. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended to make up for the other, and Grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. The four of us are still doing well, and that brings me to the present date of 20th June 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary. Unfortunately, her grandmother left them in January 1942. Means in 1941 she underwent an operation, and in 1942 January she died. Annie misses her grandmother more than anyone knows. This year's birthday was to be celebrated with great zeal so as to compensate for last year's. She then mentions that her family is doing well, which sums up her background and brings her to the present date of June 20, 1942, when she is writing her diary. Now, with the date, whatever she has written in diary. Saturday 20 June 1942. Dearest Kitty, our entire class is quacking in its boots. The reason, of course, is the forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up to the next form and who will be kept back. Half the class is making bets. Gian and I laugh ourselves silly at the two boys behind us, Cian and Jax, who have staked their entire holiday savings on their bet. From morning to night, it's you are going to pass. No, I am not. Yes, you are. No, I am not. Even GS pleading glances and my angry outburst can't calm them down. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. Now, in this paragraph, she has told about the teachers. She has told about the school, what was going on in school. Here, quacking means shake or tremble. Stake means bet. Pleading means to make an emotional appeal. Glances means look. Outburst, strong, sudden release of strong emotion. Dummies mean an object designed to resemble and serve as a substitute. Unpredictable means not to predict, not be able to predict it. Now, the explanation of this paragraph. On June 20, 1942, Annie begins writing. You must remember the date that on June 20, 1942, Annie begins writing in her diary, addressing it as her friend Kitty. She mentions how her entire class is nervous about their results. It is unpredictable and will be decided by a meeting of teachers in which they will select students to be moved to next class or kept back. Means the whole class was doing discussion about the result. Many students were making bet. Some had put in their entire summer savings at stake. She and her friend G also made fun of the nervous boys. They kept on saying to each other that I'm not going to pass, while other would console them and say, yes, you would. Means she was also laughing on those students. G was polite as she tried to stop them from making noise while Annie scolded them. But none of it worked. Annie was scolding them to not make noise, but it was useless. All the boys were making a lot of noise. According to Annie, about a quarter of class should not be allowed to pass because they hardly respond or take part in any of the activities. So Annie gave her thought that about quarter of class means one fourth of the class should not be passed. She refers to them as dummies, but this may not be the case because teachers decision can't be predicted. But she told that whatever was she thinking is not sure that quarter of the class will not be allowed to pass, because she tells that teachers are the unpredictable creature, means teachers decisions can't be predicted, according to Annie. I'm not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. We will make it. The only subject I'm not sure about is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. The author says that she is not bothered about her friends because she is sure that they will pass. The only thing subject that she is unsure about is mathematics. Means she was only confused or in fear about mathematics. She seems to be having a tough time with the subject, but all they could do was wait for the results and not lose their hope. But at last, what they had to do, they only had to wait for the result. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Mr. Casing, the old fogey who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework, an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. A chatterbox. What can you write about that? I'd worry about that later. Later, I decided. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag, and tried to keep quiet. Old fogey means old fashioned person. Annoyed means angry, irritated. Chatterbox, a person who likes to chatter, very talkative. Jotted means write quickly. She tells how she has a great relationship with all her teachers except the maths professor. He was constantly irritated by the author's talkativeness. Means the maths teacher was constantly irritated by Annie's talkative nature. Despite several warnings, Annie did not stop talking in her classes, which prompted the maths professor to give her extra homework as punishment. The first one was to write an essay on chatterbox, which she thought was a weird topic to write on, because what could one write about that? She was unable to understand that what could anyone write about chatterbox. For the moment, she wrote the topic in her notebook, kept it in her bag, and focused on staying quiet. That everything after I had finished the rest of my homework. The note about the essay caught my eye. Means when she reached home, she saw that she had got work as punishment. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. I thought, and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Kissing had assigned me and was satisfied. I argued that talking is a student's trait and that I would do my best to keep it under control, but that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that there is not much you can do about inherited traits. Here, ramble means to talk or write at length in a confused or inconsequential ways. Convince means capable of causing someone believe. Inherited means derived from one's parents or ancestors. The author came across the note she made as reminder for the essay after she had finished the rest of her homework. She began thinking about the topic while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. is a gesture that signifies a person is in deep thinking. While anyone could mention random stuff written for the sake of filling pages, she wanted to present concrete arguments in support of talking. She mentioned that she will try to better herself as a student, but talking is something that cannot be eliminated completely. This is because she got it as an inherited trait from her mother, and this is how she ended up writing 3 pages on the topic. Means, in the later, she told that why talking is important for a student, and it is a inherited trait that she has got from her mother. Mr. Casing had a good laugh at my arguments, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. This time it was supposed to be on an incorrigible chatterbox. I handed it in, and Mr. Casing had nothing to complain about for 2 whole lessons. However, during the third lesson, he had finally had enough. Annie Frank, as punishment for talking in class, write an essay entitled Quack Quack Quack, said Mistress Chatterbox. Here, proceeded means to begin, incorrigible means not able to change, mistress a woman, position of authority. The professor found Annie's arguments to be amusing, but when she did not stop talking in the next lesson also, he gave her yet another assignment as punishment. The topic was an incorrigible chatterbox. Incorrigible refers to a bad habit that is difficult to change. He gave her this topic because he was annoyed of her unstoppable chattering during his lessons. On receiving this assignment, the professor did not say anything to her for a while, but when he lost his patience, he handed her yet another assignment. As punishment on the topic Quack Quack Quack, said Mistress Chatterbox. Means later, next time also she got the assignment as punishment, and the topic was Quack Quack Quack, said Mistress Chatterbox. The class roared. I had to laugh too, though I had nearly exhausted my ingenuity on the topic of chatterboxes. It was time to come up with something else, something original. My friend, Sani, who is good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse, and I jumped for joy. Mr. Casing was trying to play a joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I would make sure the joke was on him. Here, ingenuity means the quality of being clever. Verse means writing arranged with a metrical rhyme. Ridiculous means inviting derision or mockery. Very absurd. When the professor scolded her for the third time and punished her, the whole class started laughing. As a result, she had to pretend to be amused too. After writing twice on similar topics, she ran out of thoughts. Means twice she has written on chatterbox and incorrigible chatterbox. So now she's ran out of thoughts that what should she write for the third essay. Thus her friend Sani, who was good as poetry at poetry, offered to help her write in rhyme in the form of words. This whole assignment scenario was to make Annie feel ashamed, but she made sure that she gave an effective reply. Means she had planned that by this essay, she will give the reply of his maths professor, Mr. Casing. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings who were beaten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Luckily, Mr. Casing took the joke the right way. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments and to several other classes as well. Since then, I have been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra homework. On the contrary, Mr. Casing's always making jokes these days. Yours, Annie. She finally wrote the third assignment in the form of a poem, which turned out to be great. She wrote a satire that means a sad song that a father swan beat his three baby duckling to death because of their noisy nature. Means in the satire there was a father swan who had beaten his three baby ducklings to death. Means that much they were beaten that they died because they were quacking a lot. To her good luck, the professor took it lightly. The professor recited the entire poem in front of class while giving his own remarks simultaneously. The author, being fortunate enough, Annie was fortunate enough, talked uninterruptedly after this incident. Means after that incident, after writing the third essay on the topic, when she wrote the satire that was read by his maths teacher, Mr. Casing, he was allowed to talk uninterruptedly after that incident without any further homework as punishment. Means after that, Mr. Casing is not giving her any kind of work. Also, Mr. Casing, the professor, started cracking jokes every now and then in front of the class, and after that, Mr. Casing also started making jokes. Means he also started making laugh and talk with the students. So this was the story. Now let's read the summary. In this lesson, Annie talks about being lonely and having no one to talk to despite being surrounded by family and around 30 people whom she called her friends. Thus, she takes the decision of writing her feelings in a diary. It is unusual for her to write in a diary, but she is really in need of a true friend. Thus, she decides to name her diary Kitty, and unlike other people, she is not going to mention just facts in it. She starts with writing her background to make it easier to understand for anyone who reads it later. She describes her family and early childhood when they all migrated, her early schooling also. After giving a brief account of her background, she comes to the present day where she tells us about the result. Result day. Everyone in the class is nervous about their result, and boys are even making bets. Annie was quite sure about herself and her friends. She had a good equation with all the teachers except her maths professor, who was constantly annoyed at her for her talking habits. Thus, he started giving her punishment in the form of essays on weird topics such as chatterbox, to which she replied with full wit. She wrote essays that were funny and explained that this was a trait that she inherited from her mother and not much could be done about it. Means she told that she can't leave the trait of talking as she has got it from her mother. She kept on giving her he kept her on giving her essays until she wrote a satire. After that third assignment, Mr. Casing never pointed her out for talking. Means he understood that what actually Annie wants to tell. So this was the story and the summary too. There are some questions. I hope you all will write the answer according to your understanding. The question are: first is describe Annie's feeling about having diary. Second is what does Annie Frank tell about her family in her diary. Third is describe Annie's love for her grandmother. Fourth, what does Annie write in her first essay to support her habit of talking so much. Fifth, what was Mr. Casing's reaction after reading Annie's poem on the third essay that he had given to her to write? So these are the question and this was the story. Thank you.